Mr. Bevins, a question for Mr. Wilson, please.
With the national unemployment rate still over 8%, what specifically can you do as a member of Congress to help more Americans find work?
I think one of the best things, Evan, is to stop our outsourcing of jobs. Mr. Johnson has a history of that. He not only voted to outsource jobs to Panama, Colombia, and South Korea since he's been in China, but he worked with a company that outsourced jobs before he came to Congress. His company, where he was a chief information officer, was a Stone Ridge, was an outsourcing business. They outsourced businesses from Florida and Ohio to China from Ohio. That's one of the ways you help with our unemployment, and you wind up getting more jobs for manufacturing. Mr. Johnson doesn't believe in manufacturing. He doesn't think that's the way we get out of the slump we're in. I think we need to get out of it, and I believe that by not trading jobs offshore is one of the best ways we have. And I think this new shale and the oil and gas opportunities that we have right now are a perfect way of doing it. If we can get a livable wage and we can get our people employed on these rigs and in these various people that are drilling in our district, I think we make a significant difference in the employment in our area. And it's just what we need, and it's coming at just the right time.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Johnson?
Well, there you go again, Charlie. You're still having trouble finding the truth, Charlie. I've never outsourced a job overseas in my life. As the chief information officer of a company, chief information officers don't make those kinds of decisions. That's just an out-and-out fabrication. But let's look at some facts. Charlie Wilson voted for the stimulus bill, nearly $1 trillion in stimulus that sent hundreds of millions of dollars overseas to countries like China, where it created jobs there. But let's look at something even a little closer to home. Some of you may want to pick up a copy of this before you leave. It's a sales tag right out of Wilson Furniture down in Bridgeport. Charlie, you want a copy of this? That's Ashley Signature Furniture, sold on Charlie Wilson's showroom floor. Guess where it's made, folks? It's made in China. Now, Charlie has already, the Ohio Election Commission has already demonstrated that it's probable that Charlie will lie about my voting record and my reputation and my experience. He's now not being truthful about his own. What you folks have to be concerned about here is what else is Charlie not going to be truthful with you about? You told him not to vote for the health care law, but he did so anyway.
Thank you.
Here you are, Bill.
Thank you, Charlie.
Mr.
You
Wilson?
can pick one of these up in the back if you want one, folks.
Mr. Wilson, your rebuttal?
Again, shallow, just this guy doesn't want to own. He wants you to think he was CIO of Stone Ridge Company, and he didn't know what they did. He didn't know they were outsourcing jobs. They paid him $350,000 a year to do this job. He doesn't know what they do? I ask you, just use common sense. Think about what he's doing. And since he got in Congress, he has voted for every bill that would make opportunity for corporations to move jobs offshore. And that's the kind of behavior for a guy who just simply wants to move our jobs offshore. He wants to use them, outsource them.
Thank you. Mr. Coulter, a question for Mr. Johnson, please.
Representative Johnson, with many Ohio communities' infrastructures aging, such as water, sewer, and bridges, how can we fund the repair of these infrastructures while bolstering job creation?
I'll answer that in just a second. Charlie, you know there are 5 different furniture companies right here in Ohio that you could be selling furniture for. Not you. I'm certainly going to. You know, those trade bills that Charlie talked about, they created 250,000 jobs here in America. The one thing that America got so concerned because we weren't working together in Washington. The one thing that we got together with President Obama and actually passed were those 3 trade bills, created 250,000 jobs, and he wants to stand before you and make an issue out of that. How do we bring infrastructure jobs? We get the federal government out of the way. We sent a 5-year bill to the Senate that restructured 174 regulatory programs and eliminated them and reduced the bureaucratic red burden so that states could have better control over getting their infrastructure programs going. We got no cooperation from the Senate whatsoever. That's the leadership, the failed leadership of the president, the failed leadership of the Senate Majority Leader, and the failed leadership of the House Minority Leader, who Congressman Wilson wants to put in as your next Speaker of the House.
Mr. Wilson.
Did any of those bills, did you take them to the Senate? Did you negotiate any of them with any of the people in the Senate? How about Sherrod Brown? Did you do anything with Sherrod Brown? He's running for office. He might be able to help you get that bill through the Senate. But Bill, it's always no negotiation, no working together. It's our way or the highway, Bill. You guys say it every day on the floor.
Charlie, you want a copy?
No.
No, he doesn't want to see the copy of the 40 jobs bills that we've sent to the Senate, where we have sat down and negotiated with the Senate to try and get something going. He doesn't want you to see that. It's here, folks.
Okay. Take that as your rebuttal.
Do I
Want
still
your other
have
15
time?
seconds?
That's good.
Okay. Ms. Adams, a question for Mr. Wilson, please.
Even though Roe versus Wade was passed in 1973, abortion is still a controversial issue. As a lawmaker, what is your position on the abortion issue?
I'm a pro-life candidate. I have been for many years. When I was in the Ohio House of Representatives and when I was in the Ohio Senate. And I still stick by that vote, and that's what I do about Roe versus Wade.
Mr. Johnson?
I have a mother. I have a wife. I have 2 daughters. I have 4 granddaughters. I'm very concerned about the issues that women face. I, too, am pro-life. That's why I enjoy the National Right to Life endorsement. I think that's because they know I oppose the health care law that Congressman Wilson voted for, that indeed infringes upon the religious freedoms of religious organizations like the Catholic Church, because it requires them to provide abortive types of medications against their religious convictions. So I believe that abortion starts, that conception, that life starts at conception. And I do not support abortions. I do not support taxpayer-funded abortions. And I do not believe that abortion, me personally, is appropriate except in the case of rape, incest, or when the mother's health is in danger.
Mr. Wilson?
I believe that Mr. Johnson and I agree on that subject, and I think both of us are pro-life and would stand that way in our votes in the House.
Thank you.